trace. On the afternoon of November 24th, 1971, a man calling himself Dan Cooper, later misidentified as D.B.Cooper, purchased a one-way ticket on Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. Wearing a dark suit, a black tie, and sunglasses, he looked like an ordinary businessman. But what happened next became one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history: the hijacking. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant. Initially, she ignored it, assuming he was flirting, but he whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside his briefcase, he showed her wires and red sticks, possibly explosives. He dictated his demands: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck ready to refuel the plane in Seattle. The airline and FBI complied, delivering the money and parachutes when the plane landed. Cooper then released the 36 passengers, but kept the crew on board. The jump into the unknown. He ordered the pilots to fly toward Mexico at a low altitude and slow speed. Somewhere over Washington or Oregon, around 8:13 p.m., he opened the rear stairway and jumped into the freezing night with the ransom money. That was the last confirmed sighting of D.B. Cooper. The investigation. The FBI launched one of the most extensive manhunts in U.S. history, but Cooper was never found. In 1980, a young boy discovered $5,800 in decayed 20 bills, matching Cooper's ransom along the Columbia River, but the rest of the money was never recovered. The FBI considered numerous suspects over the years, but no one was definitively identified as Cooper. In 2016, the FBI officially closed the case, declaring it one of America's greatest unsolved mysteries. Theories and speculations. 1. Did Cooper survive? Many experts believe he died from the jump. His attire was unsuitable for the cold, and he had no experience using a parachute in such conditions. 2. Was it an inside job? Some speculate he had military or airline knowledge, given his confidence in handling the situation. 3. Did he start a new life? Some theorists believe he successfully landed, hid the money, and disappeared under a new identity. Legacy. D.B. Cooper remains a folk hero, inspiring books, movies, and endless theories. His daring escape and mysterious disappearance make him one of history's most intriguing criminals. Will we ever know the truth? Perhaps not, but the legend of D.B. Cooper lives on. The D.B. Cooper Mystery, a deeper look into America's greatest unsolved crime. The hijacking. A perfectly executed plan? On November 24th, 1971, a man identifying himself as Dan Cooper boarded Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon, bound for Seattle, Washington. He was well-dressed in a dark business suit, black tie, and sunglasses. Nothing about him seemed suspicious. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper passed a note to flight attendant Florence Schaffner. At first, she ignored it, assuming it was a phone number, but Cooper leaned in and whispered, "Miss, you'd better read that. I have a bomb." She opened the note, which demanded $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck in Seattle. When she looked at him in shock, he opened his briefcase, revealing what appeared to be a bundle of red wires and dynamite sticks. Schaffner reported the hijacking to the pilots, and Northwest Orient Airlines contacted the FBI. The airline agreed to Cooper's demands, ensuring the safety of the 36 passengers on board. The ransom and the release. When Flight 305 landed in Seattle, authorities delivered $200,000 in $20 bills, totaling 10,000 banknotes, all photographed for identification, 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve. Cooper allowed all passengers to leave, but kept the pilots, flight engineer, and flight attendant Tina Mucklow. He then ordered the crew to fly to Mexico City, instructing them to keep the plane at 10,000 feet, fly under 200 miles per hour, and leave the landing gear down, a setup ideal for a parachute jump. The jump into oblivion. At 8:13 p.m., somewhere over the forests of Washington or Oregon, Cooper did the unthinkable. He lowered the Boeing 727's rear staircase and jumped into the freezing night with the money.